What's up everybody, I'm HoopsandHipHop and welcome to something new that I have decided to try. When the starter Pokemon for Pokemon Sword and Shield were first announced, it seemed like most people liked them, but a lot of people kinda had to digest them a little bit as well before they could really say what they thought or before they eventually warmed up to them. However, even though I would now say that I do like all three starters, that doesn't mean I'm in love with all three of them either. There definitely was a reason for why I was a little hesitant when they were first revealed, and there are some things that I would like to see done a little bit better, I guess you could say, in each of their designs. So today, I'm actually going to go ahead and try to do just that. I have decided to more or less challenge myself and see if there's anything I can personally do with the skills I have to make the starter Pokemon better. Now, this isn't to say that I can legitimately make them better and what Game Freak has made is not as good. I'm definitely not saying that, and I am definitely not saying, once again, that the starters are garbage. Like I said, I like all three of them. This is mostly just to kind of challenge myself and challenge what limited Photoshop skills I have to just see if I can improve upon the starters and basically improve the things that I initially was hesitant about when I first saw them in the reveal trailer. This is definitely a different sort of video to what I normally do because I am not a GFX artist or anything like that, but like I said, I wanted to challenge myself and I actually had a freaking blast doing this. It was a ton of fun and I'm pretty happy with what I came up with. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go through each starter Pokemon, show you guys what I did to them, show you kind of the before and after, and tell you guys my thought process behind what I decided to do to them and how they ended up the way they did after I edited them a little bit. So with all of that being said, why don't we go ahead and just get right into it. This is my attempt at making the starter Pokemon of Pokemon Sword and Shield better. Alright, first things first, we are going to go in order, and that means we are going to start with Grookey. Now, when I first saw Grookey, the thing that stuck out to me the most was its orange hands and its orange snout on its nose, and that wasn't really a good thing because it was very jarring to me compared to its green body, especially with the way that its hands kind of looked like it had gloves on, where it had the orange on its hands and then it all of a sudden just like cut off and then it was green on the rest of its body. I don't know about anyone else, but for me personally, that just seemed really jarring, and I really was just not into Grookey's design when I first saw that, because I just didn't like the color scheme it had going on. So as such, my first order of business was to basically improve this color scheme for Grookey and make the orange to green transition not so jarring. I didn't want to get rid of the color patterns or anything like that, so I didn't want to make Grookey's body all green and get rid of the orange. I just wanted to change the color a little bit to make it a little more like soft, if you will, make the transition from color to color a little more natural, a little like less like contrasting, if that makes sense, and a little less jarring overall, because like I said, the word was jarring when it came to my first impression of Grookey as a Pokemon. So that was my first order of business, is to get this fixed. And one thing in particular that made it an easy fix is that Grookey is actually based on a squirrel monkey. That is something that fans have caught on to rather quickly. But the thing is, if you go look at squirrel monkeys, even though they do have this pattern on their arms, which to me gives Grookey a little bit of a pass in this respect, the color that squirrel monkeys have isn't this orange color that Grookey has. It's more of a golden yellowish color. So in order to make this a little better, in my opinion, in terms of its design and color scheme, I decided to convert this orange color to a yellow to not only make the color scheme a little more natural and less jarring, in my own opinion, but also to match it up a little more closely with its inspiration in the squirrel monkey. This was the biggest change I made to Grookey, and this was the thing in particular that I wanted to improve upon when I first sat down to challenge myself to improve the starter Pokemon. But in addition to that, there were also a couple more subtle things that I changed as well. When I mentioned earlier how the orange color next to the other colors on Grookey's body was very jarring, it didn't just apply to the green main color of its body, it also applied to that yellowy, kind of fleshy color of the mask that it has around its eyes, and so I decided to change this color as well, and I ultimately ended up making it a light green color to go along with and match up with the base green color of its body, as well as to kind of reinforce the idea of its grass type, because when you're a grass type, you really can't have too much green on your body. And then finally, as a very subtle change, I decided to change the colors of its ears and tail from a straight up kind of just standard brown color to a little more, I guess you could say, interesting brown color that has a little bit of red in it. And overall, after a bunch of trial and error, this is what I came up with for my design of an improved Grookey. Now, I do want to be clear once again, because there are some videos out there on YouTube that were kind of making mock-up shiny forms for the starters. This is not what I'm proposing for Grookey or any of the following starters. This is what I am proposing as a quote-unquote improved version of its standard form. Like, if I was designing the Pokemon and giving them their color schemes, this is what I would go with, and this is, in my opinion, an improved version overall. Once again, if you think the other way and you think the original is better than this, that's fine. Like I said, this is just a challenge for myself, but overall, I think this actually looks pretty good. I feel like it's an improved version. Not only does the color scheme look a little better overall, in my opinion, but like the yellow color that was the biggest deal for me in the first place with its hands and its nose matches the squirrel monkey that it's based on more than the orange. So overall, I think this looks better, and hopefully you guys like it too. Okay, next up is the Fire Starter Scorbunny, and of the changes that I have made to these three starters, this is the one that I am most proud of, and I legitimately think this looks like significantly better than what we have in Scorbunny right now. So the first thing I thought of when I thought of things I wanted to change or improve on Scorbunny was that I wanted to get rid of the band-aid across its face. Not that that necessarily looks bad, but obviously everyone is just a tiny bit nervous that that means it's going to turn into a firefighting type, which obviously no one wants another firefighting starter. So the first thing I did was get rid of this band-aid across its face in order to quell any worry whatsoever that this was going to become another firefighting type starter Pokemon. The next thing I decided to do after getting rid of the face bandage on Scorbunny's face was make its coloration a little more dynamic. I was honestly a bit surprised to see its base color be white as a fire starter Pokemon, and obviously it's a bunny so it makes sense, but given that it is a fire starter, I felt like it would do something to kind of pop a little bit more than have most of its body be white. So I decided to go ahead and do what I could to make its coloration a little more interesting, to make it pop a little bit more, but interestingly enough, I did not do this by changing the white base color of its body. I decided to keep that the same because after playing around with some color schemes and some hues and stuff, I just decided to change the accent colors that it has on places of its body like its ears and its feet, and just make those colors a little more interesting than the kind of mid-grade yellow / orange that it's got going on currently. I started doing this by playing around with the hues of the colors a little bit on Scorbunny's body, and I ended up with this really nice like crimson red color and this really nice sunset orange for its ears that I think works fantastically. But then for the very tip of its ears, instead of leaving those a orange / red color like it is in the original, I decided to go a little bit different and make them straight up black. And the reason why I did this was once again to make the coloration a bit more dynamic, make it pop, make it contrast a little more with the red and the white, but then this actually ended up factoring in to its base inspiration as a Pokemon and what it is as a Pokemon, which really makes it come together full circle really well, which we will get into a little bit later. And because I settled on the black color for Scorbunny's ears, I needed to kind of make this color work within the design of its body, so I also decided to make the tips of its feet black as well, which once again turned out looking really nice. So at this point, I had a pretty good color scheme going. I was pretty proud of myself, but I also didn't just want to change the colors and call it good, because I felt like I could do a little more than that. So I wanted to change something about its body that wasn't there before, and that's when it just like flipped on in my head what I could do with this Pokemon to really make this new coloration come full circle. So we know that this Pokemon's name is Scorbunny, right? And we know, in addition to possibly coming from the word score, as in score a goal, that it also comes from the word scorch, as in to like burn something with fire because it's a fire type. So I thought to myself, rather than just having this part of its name be a random adjective that was just thrown into its name for the purpose of giving it a fire type association, what if we actually made it part of its design to the point where the name Scorbunny literally meant scorched bunny, as in a burnt bunny, which would not only give it a fire type in name, but would give it a fire type in body as well. And this idea ultimately led me to giving it black spots on its hands, just like it has black spots on the tip of its feet. And when I put this together and had it all finalized, this is the final design I came up with. And let me tell you, I don't like to give myself pats on the back that much, but I am really proud of what I came up with here. In my opinion, this design in terms of the coloration is just way more interesting and cool to look at as opposed to the Scorbunny we have right now, but it's the little bit of backstory I was fortunate enough to come up with that I added into the design that I think really makes this concept cool, because now not only is its name Scorbunny, it is literally a scorched bunny. The whole idea here, since scorch or scorched literally means to burn with fire, is that all of its appendages, being its feet, its hands, and its ears, are all burnt as a result of it trying to use and master fire type attacks, because of course it's a fire type Pokemon, but it's a first stage. It's a very young Pokemon, it's a very inexperienced Pokemon. So basically this Pokemon is trying to get the hang of using its fire type moves that it's capable of, but it's kind of burning itself in the process, which in turn made its feet, its hands, and its ears become a black color, hence why it is a scorched bunny both in name and design. Like I said, I don't like to pat myself on the back too much, so you guys are just gonna have to let me know what you think of this design. If you like the original more, it's totally fine, don't worry about it, but I'm gonna be honest, if I had a legitimate choice between the two, I would go ahead and pick this edit, because I think it looks cooler and it offers a lot more promising potential for its evolutions as opposed to potentially getting another firefighting type with the original Scorbunny that we have now. And last but certainly not least, we have Sobble, and by far Sobble was the hardest of the 3 starter Pokemon to improve, because not only is Sobble my favorite of the 3 Galar region starters, but even initially when I was kind of hesitant to all 3 of them, Sobble didn't really have anything about its design that I thought could be improved upon, or I just didn't really like that much. Overall, even from the beginning, it was a solid Pokemon that I just really grew to love even more, as opposed to it having something like the other 2 starters that really stood out that I felt like I could improve upon. So with that being said, I didn't change too much about Sobble's design, but at the same time, there was something I thought I could bring out a little bit more in Sobble's design, and that is the idea of it being based on a chameleon. Many people were surprised to discover that Sobble is based on a chameleon, because chameleons aren't aquatic creatures, and historically, every single water starter Pokemon that we've had up until now has been based on either a fully aquatic or a semi-aquatic type of animal, so this is a first for Pokemon in terms of their water starters. So in my plan for improving upon Sobble, I decided to approach its colors and make it a little bit more reflective of its basis as a chameleon. But in this approach, I actually ran into a significant problem. Even though being based on a chameleon, it could literally be any color it wanted to, because Sobble is a water type and actually a water starter at that, I was somewhat limited in the colors I could use for its body. Because since it's a water type, I obviously need to communicate communicate with its body that it is a water type, which limits my color palette to something in the blue area. And even though you might say, well, there's other water Pokemon out there like Octillery or Bruxish, for instance, that don't really use blue in their design, well, yeah, even though that's true, this is a water starter Pokemon we're talking about. These are very important in terms of just communicating to players what they are and being simple and approachable and different things like that. And literally all of the other water starters are predominantly blue, so I really couldn't go out of that blue area when it came to its general color scheme. So even though I actually changed the least amount on Sobble of any of the starters, this one actually took me the longest. I spent well over an hour just playing with different color combinations and different things like that not only made it look better, because this is all about improving upon the starters, but also kind of kept it in that vein of being what appears to be a water type and looking like a water starter, because if it didn't, then I didn't exactly improve upon it. So after all of that was said and done, this is what I ended up with. I basically decided to just give it a little more flair as opposed to starkly change every color that it has on its body, and I decided to make its fin a little more golden, a little more vibrant, once again adding more color. I decided to make the inner part of its face a little more brighter blue, kind of an icy blue, once again a little more vibrant, a little more saturated to make the color pop, as is the theme of chameleons. And then I decided to make the main outer kind of color of its body, I'm looking over here because it's on my screen over here, I decided to go for a kind of like translucent purpley blue. I honestly don't know how I ended up with that color, but I think it just matches like Sobble perfectly, because it's a very interesting looking color, and like I said, the theme of color is what we wanted to go for here, with it being based on a chameleon, but it's also within that blue range. It's got a very blue hue that does not stray too far away from the concept of what a water starter is, and it's all about water, and water is blue, you know the drill. Like I said, this was just for a challenge, and you guys are definitely gonna have to let me know what you think of my version in the comments below. And there we have it, everybody. That was my attempt at improving upon the starter Pokemon of the Galar region. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I had an absolute blast making this video, because not only is it a different thing to what I usually do, but it was also just so much fun to challenge myself and push the limits of my skills in this area that isn't really my area of expertise, so to speak, and it was also fun to just kind of think of different ways just within my own skill set that I can improve upon the starters and not just completely change their design, and just basically fill up that room for improvement that each one of these Pokemon has, since, as we all know, there's no such thing as a perfect Pokemon. If you guys enjoyed the video though, be sure to give it a like and let me know down in the comments below, what you thought of this video idea, and if you would like to see more type of improving upon Pokemon videos. Maybe we can make this a series. Like I said, I don't have a ton of skill in this area, but I think it would be fun to maybe explore a little bit more if you guys enjoy it, because like I said, I had a ton of fun. And also let me know down below what you think of my improved versions of the starter Pokemon. My favorite is definitely the Scorbunny. I think that's awesome, but what do you guys think? Do you like these better? Do you like the originals? Either way, it's fine. It's your opinion. You can think what you want. Just let me know with a comment below. Finally, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for way more Pokemon content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, including plenty of Sword and Shield coverage and fun videos like this. And if you are into Pokemon music, be sure to check me out on Spotify for my Pokemon remixes, and if you would like, consider giving me a follow over there and listening to some of my tunes, because that is by far the easiest way to support the channel if you enjoy what you see here outside of just watching the videos, and everything you do over there goes to directly support the channel here, and it's always greatly appreciated. With all of that being said though, I will be back on Thursday for another video, so be sure to hit that notification bell so you can be notified as soon as it goes live. And with all of that being said, as always, you know I love you guys. Thank you so much as always. I really appreciate you, and until the next one, I will smell you guys later.